The GameCube had quite a few creepy games. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today's video is inspired by Mario Sunshine. On the back of the box, it says Dark Days on Island Delfino. Now, there is a bunch of ghosts in this game, but also Mario was accused of a crime he didn't even commit in a foreign country, and was locked up for it, and probably butt-pounded as well. And when he's out, he has to clean up this whole mess that he didn't even freaking do? How horrifying is that? So today we're gonna look at the dark side of the GameCube.
Second Opinion Games.
Number 10, Space Raiders. Inspired by Space Invaders, this is a game where you play as one of 3 different characters running back and forth and blowing up freaking aliens. These aliens already devastated the landscape and destroyed most of human life, so it's time for you to even the odds. It can be played multiplayer with you and a friend, which is how this game is played best. Playing by yourself is just punishment. Now, you can dive out of the way of bullets, but most of the time you're just going to be throwing grenades and tapping that A button as fast as possible to destroy your enemies. And it's about time these evil aliens get what's coming to them. Number 9, Pac-Man World 3. On the eve of his 25th birthday, Pac-Man is mysteriously teleported out of the Pac Village and into the Dark World. Now it's up to Pac-Man with one of his previous villains, which is now his ally, to stop a new freaking villain, and this is probably one of the best games in the entire Pac-Man universe. And you can still play some traditional Pac-Man style games here in order to get extra points and probably keys. Most of this game is just puzzles trying to figure out how to get to the next huge wide open area. It's sort of like Mario 64 but Pac-Man style, and that makes it probably one of the best games on the entire GameCube library. Number 8, Spirits and Spells. In this action platform game, you have 2 different characters that you have to swap back and forth from. A witch who has a ranged attack, and a devil who can get up close and personal for some devastated melee attacks. And they also have their own attributes when it comes to flipping different puzzle switches. And also there's heavy platforming here in this Halloween theme game. Tons of creepy enemies to fight against, and pits galore. Now the one-hit kills are here in full effect to make the game extra punishing, but occasionally you can get a fairy, which gives you 1 extra hit. However, if you fall in a pit, chances are you're dead. And this one has a creepy atmosphere and also punishing difficulty level. So if you can handle it, then this platform is for you. Number 7, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Chaos Bleeds. This game is actually canon in the Buffy experience, and you can play from any of the Scooby Gang here. You have Xander Harris, which is basically a weakling in the show, but in this game, you know, he can just down vampires like they're freaking nothing. Also, Willow with her powerful magic, and of course, the beautiful Buffy herself. Faith's nemesis from Season 3, Conquistos, is back to life and wreaking havoc on Sunnydale. Also, you might run into Sid the Dummy and Ethan Rain. And this game is exceptionally good because there's a multiplayer experience here where you and up to 4 of your friends can have total deathmatch. Or just go in yourself if you're alone and have no friends and you just want to play as a little wooden dummy. You could also pick the different enemies and some other random people in the game, and this is the ultimate Buffy experience. I just wish the gameplay was a little bit better than running from section to section, trying to find keys and put fuses in fuse boxes. Yeah, as if Buffy would ever waste her time with that. She would probably just kick open every door she saw and stake the vampires while saying quick one-liners.
generator switches off and I can't get it back on without the right fuse. A fuse box, but no fuse. Pretty unstable.
Number 6, Metroid Prime. As if it wasn't bad enough to be on your own in an alien environment where tons of creatures are also trying to kill you, but you also are a little freaking girl who's pretty defenseless against these creatures. And she's been infused with space chicken blood. As stupid as that premise sounds, luckily this turned out to be a really good game, and it proves that you can have a great first-person shooter experience on the GameCube. It has a decent lock-on function, which is really good for taking down your enemies. And it does have a creepy atmosphere that just puts you in the mood to keep on playing, no matter how much time it really sucks away from your life. Honestly, this is one of the best games ever made of all times, and if you haven't gave it a shot because 3D Metroid sounds a little weird to you, well, go back and do so. You have my full blessing. Number 5, Killer7 Suda51's on-rail shooter masterpiece is one of the goriest games on the entire GameCube. You play as a character with multiple personalities, and you can switch back and forth from them, well, every time you come across the TV where you can tune into your next personality. Each one has its own attributes that can be leveled up to destroy these enemies and make them explode into little blood pellets, which then you collect and turn in the vials and use that blood in your freaking bullets to take down bigger enemies. If this game sounds freaking nuts, well, then you know that you're playing a real Suda51 game. The graphics are highly stylized, and you could even see the girl's panties when she just freaking stands here, so you know that he was at the top of his game when putting this masterpiece together. And it's pretty gory. You might need a barf bag for this one. Number 4, Geist. This game starts off as the most generic first-person shooter that ever was. Eventually, your character is captured, and his soul is removed from his body and shoved into a computer where it teaches you to inhabit rabbits and run around a fantasy world. Luckily, you escape from this world pretty darn quick and start inhabiting other miscellaneous objects in order to scare people enough for you to inhabit their body. And one thing's for sure, when I go into this janitor, I am gonna make sure that he has the worst day humanly possible. For starters, I made him immediately crap himself, so now when he runs around all the scientists, they know that that janitor is full of poopy. And second off, the very first chance I got, I jumped into another person and shot the janitor to death, meaning he had a really bad day. And that's basically what this whole game is about. Running around, shooting people, moving into other people, and paint cans and stuff, making them explode, and then shooting more people. Yeah, Game of the Year material. Number 3, Luigis Mansion. Now, this was a launch game for the GameCube, and at the time, most people just scoffed at it because they wanted a Mario game at launch. How could Nintendo screw this up this badly? But looking back at it, this is actually one of the best games on the GameCube. Luigi has his own sense of style. This time, he seems to be very afraid of ghosts at all times. Luckily, he has a vacuum cleaner that can suck them up. And this is a terrific experience, exploring this mansion that is very alive, feels natural. There's money hidden all over the place, which makes me wonder why he just didn't leave after the first level and buy a new stinking house. Oh yeah, it's because he has to save Mario this time around. After all, Luigi is the true hero of these two brothers. And one question really is on my mind after beating this game. Who the heck killed this baby? Number 2, Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem. This is one of the very few M-rated games for the GameCube. It has an H.P. Lovecraft-style storyline where you play as lead character Laura. You won't be playing with her for very long as you jump into the pages of this evil book to hear other people's stories from the past, fighting eternal gods and zombies, targeting their heads and limbs and whatnot. You eventually will go insane. And this is one of the first times that a video game ever tricked me just straight out. Yeah, first I thought, what the heck's on my screen? And then I thought, holy crap, this game's full of bugs and glitches. But no, it was the game messing with me. There was a time in this game where I didn't save for like ever, and then all of a sudden when I did go to save, it said it was deleting my memory card. I jumped over my coffee table, shutting it off, just then realizing that the game got me. I immediately shelved it and didn't even look at it for a full year before I went back to it and played it. This is a horrifying game. And it is a darn good time. So if you have the guts and if you can stand the sanity effects, well, then this is a must-have. However, you have to play through it and beat it 3 times in a row in order to get to the true ending, and that could be a little much for me.
You are reduced to feeding on flesh and bone, Mantarok. How the mighty have fallen. You will surely fester for millennia to come.
Number 1, Resident Evil 4. This is the most gruesome, over-the-top action game for the console, and Capcom decided that they needed to make some money off this game, so then they ported it out to everything else. But this is the most truly horrifying game for the GameCube, and the best for the console. On top of it, there are extras in here galore, different alternate costumes, and Leon can put his own form of police brutality on against these native citizens, even if it's way out of his jurisdiction. There's also mercenary mode where you could play as Hunk and Jack Krauser, and no Tofu here, so that makes me a little sad. But there's also the Assignment Ada missions, which are masterpiece in themselves. This is the complete package, and now you would expect to see half of this game as DLC, but back then, this is all she wrote. And it's a total masterpiece, and by far the best game on the GameCube, and certainly the most horrifying, especially because I just get my head chopped off every freaking 5 seconds. And man, it's just really scary and frustrating. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it, and I want to know what your favorite GameCube game is. Also, I want to know what top 10 should I cover in the future. And don't be boring here, guys. I'm not saying just top 10 3DO games. I want to know, like, top 10 video games where you can punch a woman in the face or something like that. I want over-the-top, in-your-face action at all times, and I want to know just how you feel about this channel in general. So please, let me know. I want to hear all your comments, and I love hearing from real people. So just let me know everything, and until later, I will see you again, guys.